My name's Kevin Duffy. I'm one of the solicitors with the Scottish Engineering legal team, and this is the January 2023 breakfast briefing, the first of the year. Okay, the topic today is DYW, Developing Young Workforce, and we have a guest speaker, Justin Thomas, who's one of the programme managers with DYW. He's going to be talking through what DYW does for maybe 20, 25-ish minutes, and then there's going to be a quick Q&A session at the end where you can pick up any clarification from him if you want. But he has mentioned if you want to ask any questions during the proceedings as well, then that's not a problem as well. So, as you all know, it's just a short meeting, briefing, maybe 20, 25 minutes, so enough from me, and I shall hand over to you, Justin.
Thanks very much, Kevin. Good morning to everybody, and after festive greetings for you. Happy New Year to everybody. I'm absolutely delighted to be here with the Scottish Engineering and seeing you all this morning. Yes, so my name is Justin Thomas, and I'm a programme manager with Developing the Young Workforce based here in Dumfries and Galloway. And if you're not too sure what Developing the Young Workforce is, DYW, I'll just give you a quick explanation. DYW is a Scottish Government initiative. There are 20 regional groups across Scotland, and obviously I'm in the Dumfries and Galloway arm here. Our job, if you like, our outlook is to introduce as many young people as possible to business and vice versa. It's really essential right now, especially coming after 2020 and 2021, that we bring industry back to young people and make them aware of exactly what opportunities and what possibilities surround them. So we work with all sorts of sectors, all the industries, as many businesses as we possibly can, to represent what your industry, your business needs, so that the young people are more informed and a little bit more passionate about the opportunities that could be around them. So here in Dumfries and Galloway, I've been doing this for nearly 7 years, and we've had some great successes, and I'm delighted that we've been working with Scottish Engineering now for just around about 5 years. And between myself and Paul and Julie and John, who I work with very closely, we are able to actually present your sector, the engineering sector, in ways which might help to change those perceptions that a lot of young people have. And more importantly, it's trying to get to the adults around the young people whose perceptions may not necessarily be where they need to be in this day and age. So, for example, if you say engineering now, a certain image will come to mind that hasn't changed at all. And that's something that we're keen to actually look at doing to try and change that perception so that the young people are better informed. We need to show that your sector is very varied and incredibly diverse when it comes to the possibilities and the careers that it encapsulates. So it's very exciting for me to be able to work with Scottish Engineering, to meet a lot of its members and be able to say, what do you do? So that we can actually get some what we call work-ready projects around so we can get them out to the young people. Our projects consist of lots of different and varied forms. So we can do site visits where businesses are able to do that. We can actually take businesses into schools. They can run workshops. Scottish Engineering are actually part of that a lot of the time as well, with what I run down here in D&G called Work Ready Days, which is where we take over a school and I take in businesses that can't offer site visits or anything like that. And we run interactive workshops, and the youngsters can actually speak with the businesses, get their hands dirty and start their minds whirring as to where they want to go and the possibilities that are on offer. Interactive elements when it comes to working with young people are always extremely important, because we've got to remember where it was like when we were at school, and a lot of the time as adults we don't do that. So if you're 13 or 14 and you're in school 5 days a week and you've got an old person preaching at you, it's a little bit refreshing when we go in and don't necessarily do it that way. We do something which is interactive. They can get their hands dirty, they can pull apart equipment or whatever the business wants them to do. Quizzes are very popular as well. And it just gives them that refresh, that extra element of being able to say, well, this is different. And they do engage with it. So it's something that I always very much like to push, the fact that we like to do things interactively. We're also very busy with our YouTube page, DYW Dumfries and Galloway. This I came about with and put together in 2020 in the now infamous lockdown. And it was a way of actually trying to reach young people when they were out of school. Now, I don't know about the areas that you're in, but here in D&G, we lost 2020 and 2021 because we just couldn't access the schools. The children just weren't necessarily in the classroom. So the YouTube channel has really helped us a lot. Please do like and subscribe, DYW Dumfries and Galloway. The channel itself is called DYW Flicks, and I did that deliberately to copy the Netflix model because, of course, a lot of the kids live on there now. Between YouTube and the streaming services, they're all on that. And it's been really successful. And we've got a hell of a lot of contact on there. And Scottish Engineering has played an incredible and supportive role on that channel. We have a whole playlist called Behind the Scenes, which is where I work with various partners like Scottish Engineering to present the businesses that are part of the whole organization. So a huge thanks to Zeus Engineering and Intelligent Growth Solutions, who have already participated in recorded shows. And this is where we actually meet with the business and we ask them various questions. They explain about who they are and what they do. So it raises their brand awareness, but it also shows the viewer what they do, what their element in the industry is, and how different, so what all the differences are. That engineering isn't just what you would normally think about. So that's quite exciting. I know that Kevin's got some links there to the Zeus Engineering and Intelligent Growth Solutions show, so please have a look at those. And if you are very interested, then get in touch with Scottish Engineering, or you can get in touch with me direct, and we can put a show together to present who you are as well and what your part of the industry and the sector is and how important that is. So that's always very, very exciting for us about doing that. The great thing about doing things on the YouTube channel as well is, yes, we're meeting the young people, but we're also meeting the adult audience around them as well. It's really, really important, as I mentioned, that we really try and get to those adults to change their perceptions. At the moment, every single industry I work with is suffering from perception from adults, which is given down to young people. So, for example, a young person will come and say, oh, I want to go into hospitality. You didn't want to do that. And that's happening with your industry. It's happening with everything, food and drink. It's happening with all sorts of industries right now. And we have to try and challenge that to show young people, well, look, there's more to it than you are being told or you may perceive. So one of the other things we do about that as well is that I'm now preparing my fourth massive STEM event, STEM being a huge and popular word, obviously still within education to this day. This is called Bang Goes DG. And again, Kevin has a trailer from the YouTube channel there, which I know he'll post up for you. Bang Goes DG is a STEM event. It's held every year at Easterbrook Hall here in Dumfries, and it's a days full of activity. We've had it confirmed again this year that all 16 of our secondary schools will be coming to our event, which means we're going to have around about, or just over 1,000 inquiring young and active minds coming along to play with all the businesses we get. We usually get around about 43 businesses coming to this every year. And again, it's a massive interactive event for the day. And what it is, it's presenting all the businesses that come along and their sector in a fun way. So there's always various things. There's VR that usually goes on there. There's interactive quizzes that go on there. There's puzzles, all this stuff I'm sure you'll be aware of. And it's a very successful day, and it's now become a real big part of the calendar here in D&G, which I'm very proud of. Again, Scottish Engineering are a leading partner and support, and I can't thank them enough for supporting us on this from day one in 2018, where we launched this. And I just thought it would be fun this year as well to be able to say, okay, because last year we had a couple of Scottish Engineering members that had come who had actually at that point, of course, never met each other face to face. And so they were getting to know each other. And I think a little business came out of that as well. I thought this year it'd be fun to try and put together a Scottish Engineering section of Bang Goes DG, where we can actually show off our partnership with Scottish Engineering and show off some of its members. So huge thanks to those businesses that have already got in touch from the email that Julie sent out on behalf of myself to us. But it's a fun day, and it'd be great if any other Scottish Engineering members can get to Dumfries and Galloway for the day. I'd be very happy to talk to anybody. My email address is justin.thomas@dywdg.co.uk, or you can get in touch with me via Julie or John at Scottish Engineering. But it's a great day. As I said, we're expecting a lot of these young people coming. They are aged anywhere between 12 and we tend to cut it off around about 16, but we open it out to the college and university students and to any young people that happen to be in the unemployment lines here in the region. So it really goes up to around about 23, 24. The older ones, of course, although they get more engaged, they do get engaged, they are more likely to talk to people about any possible career routes that can be advised, which is great. It's absolutely fantastic. So again, thank you to those businesses that have already got in touch. But if you would like to get in touch, please do, because putting it together now, and it should be another cracking day for us. When it comes to the bigger picture of developing young workforce as well, it's really imperative that the businesses do understand the roles that they have to play. And although we appreciate that, of course, it's extremely difficult at the moment following 2020 and 2021, you all have issues going on. We understand that. We've really got to try and emphasize the fact we've got to always have an eye towards the up and coming workforce. There's a lot of challenges going on with young people at the moment as well. We've had businesses coming back to me saying that they're finding it difficult still to engage with young people when it comes to recruitment because of the lack of awareness from some young people about what's up around with them. So I know that can be very frustrating. So we also offer, from DYW D&G's point of view, all the usual material with the spin that's been going on for quite a while. So I'm talking here about interview techniques. It's really important that we bring work ethic back to a certain generation. They may have lost certain ethics or protocols about industries during 2020 and 2021. We are seeing, unfortunately, a lot of young people that come through that don't have communication techniques where we need them to be. Interview techniques are not quite there, and certainly there's an awful lot of, from some young people, it's not all, but from some young people, unrealistic demands. Oh, I'm only going to work so many days a week. I'm only going to do so many hours. We have to show them what the bigger picture is, their role in not just regional and Scottish, but the British economy and the role that they play in that. So that's something that we're trying to look at now, and it's something we want to work with businesses through. It's very, very important that you come through to young people and say, well, these are our expectations, because without these expectations, there is no business and the bigger picture. So we're trying to really build that to be able to say, look, we are all a cog in what happens, and the economy, and how important that is, and how it supports the industry, and how therefore they can show career paths as well. So if anybody's interested in doing anything like that. So we tend to take businesses to schools, obviously, to do interview techniques. Down here in Dumfries and Galloway, we've originated back in 2020 online interview techniques as well. The reason for that was around about 2021, I read in one of the national papers that businesses were suggesting at least 70% of businesses would keep their first interview at least online because it saves the old money. Absolutely get that, not a problem at all. But I suddenly realized then, well, hang on a minute, nobody really knows how to do online interview techniques. And I'm not just talking about the people you're going to interview. I'm going to talk about us conducting the interviews as well. So we've been, since early 2021, conducting all these lovely online interview techniques where we, through Teams, businesses beam themselves into the school and we do an interview technique there. It's had a massive effect on confidence for staff as well as the young people, because the staff are now really confident when they're conducting these interviews, and the feedback we've had from those are fantastic. From my point of view, yet again, it also raises the profile of businesses, and it means that, especially in our area in Dumfries and Galloway, where we don't have conglomerates really, there's very few, young people become more aware of the world around them, of the sectors around them, of the players that are in those sectors. And it just opens their mind a little bit more to be able to say, right, okay, this is fantastic. I didn't know about this. It also helps when it comes to my vision of trying to get to the adults as well, because the amount of times I get adults, whether it be teachers or parents or work coaches from the job centre or career advisors come out, I didn't know this. I didn't know this. Well, and I'm aware of that, but now you do. So let's build on it and let's really try and get the businesses supported. Because in my opinion, it's really important that businesses have a say in what's happening within the education system. We've got to try and get more of a role within education to be able to say, look, these are our requirements for the future. What can education do to help ease those requirements so that the young people are more work ready? So that's what anything else is happening there. So as I say, there's 20 regional groups around the country, and if you're not engaged with anybody now, I'm already ready. I'm available to introduce you to my colleagues around the country. But obviously D&G is the best. Yay. And we've got a lot going on that one. And there's a hell of a lot that we're doing here. We're always trying to push forward and push forward. Anything that we do for the YouTube channel is shared by my colleagues across the country. And it's amazing the power of YouTube as well. I have had, he says, checking his notes, I have had comments from teachers in Manchester, Bradford, parts of London, Brighton, and somewhere else bizarre. Where was it? Sheffield, who are using these videos that we're producing as lesson plans. And then what they do is they get this, they use it as a lesson plan, and then the children do a project based around what the business has told them through YouTube. So it's something I'm really keen to continue, strengthen up as we go through this year, really get some more doing, and just open it up. I'm really keen to get into the space industry this year as well, because nobody knows what's happening in that element of your industry. So we're really trying to push some projects there, because I'm just a little bit worried that you won't have any workforce coming through in the next few years, because I can guarantee you not many of the youngsters know that the space industry is a big part of your sector here in Scotland. So there's a lot that's going on for DYW. There's a lot that's going on for DYW D&G. So really, yes, I know that you've got, I've given you a lot of information, but please, if you've got any questions now, I want to know anything more, say hello. Anyone got any questions? Kevin, you're on mute. Can't hear you.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's on mute there. I've got the alarm there for a minute. What do you do of a day there, Justin?
My day consists of a lot of networking and a lot of planning and a lot of talking and a lot of smiling, to be quite honest.
Yes.
What I try to do is I meet with as many businesses as possible. And I qualify them to see, right, okay, who are you basically? And what are your requirements for the future? Or what would you like to do? And I tend to take all that information. I've been doing this now in Dumfries and Galloway for, well, over 6 years. And so I have an off-the-peg type system now, various projects which are adaptable to what we need to do right now, and we can move forward. So my days are spent consisting of putting work-ready projects in for all sectors, not just engineering. I work with hospitality, I work with construction, I work with the health side of stuff, all sorts of industries. But it's always about that perception of representing the business correctly, getting them to meet young people, getting young people to meet the businesses, and presenting the industry and the business in a way that's going to get young people excited enough to say, I need to know more about that. What do I do? There's an assumption as well that a lot of young people will go directly towards college or university. Not necessarily the truth. I always say to businesses, if you're not going to interact with youngsters earlier on, how will they know what they want to do at college and university? We've got to drive an awareness there. So that's an awful lot of what I do as well. And a lot of the project we've got there that focuses on all that. But also there's an awful lot of young people, of course, that don't want to keep engaged with education. In a sense, they're the young people that we really need to work with a lot more as well, because they could come directly into your business. So we've got to look at apprenticeship routes. We've got to look at work experience, which can, it's a try before you buy on both sides there, which can actually lead people into work. So my days are spent, Kevin, very, very, not one day is exactly the same, and that's the exciting thing about my job. I absolutely love it.
Okay, over to the attendees. Any questions at all from our member companies?
Don't be shy. Please ask anything.
Okay, one last question from me then. If you want to ask, from the... Oh, on you go. I'll shut up.
I was just going to say, how are you integrating with the schools?
Who's speaking there? Is that Alan?
It's Alan Collin, CPA Engineered Solutions.
Good morning, Alan.
Good morning.
Thank you for your question. Right, that's an excellent question, and I was hoping that somebody would ask that. In all the secondary schools in Scotland, we now have a DYW school coordinator, and that school coordinator is a link directly to what we call the regional teams, which is what I'm part of. And what we do is, myself and my equivalents, we do meet with the businesses, we put the projects together, and then we introduce them to the schools via the DYW school coordinator. The school coordinators tend to be supplemented an income from our budgets as well. So they are there to work very, very closely with us. And that's how it's presented in the schools. And the more we can keep that going. The trick for us, though, Alan, is basically to keep that relationship and the partnership, if you like, going within the schools, because you know what it can be like. They've got to meet the criteria of the education dictates. So what I tend to do every single week is talk to school coordinators, talk to my businesses to say, right, okay, are you in touch with each other? And then I try to maintain that. So that's a lot of work for myself, but it's fine. We've got to keep that momentum going. And the more projects we do, the easier it gets. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. All I was going to say was that we have 9 apprentices in the process at the present moment, and I try and take on apprentices each year.
Fabulous.
And we're trying to work more with the school. There's been a definite engagement with the North Lanarkshire Council. A gentleman called Derek Brown from North Lanarkshire, who has a real push on getting people and young people back into work. We've had engagement with Calderhead High School. I think it would be good to meet with a regional associate of yourself for this area. It would help greatly on that basis. I couldn't agree more with engagement, because there is that aspect of it's a long while since I was that age, so I can't put too much on it, but it seems a bit of lethargy of people coming forward. The biggest problem we have on an annual basis is getting enough candidates to apply.
Yes.
That seems to be amazing, but it is that aspect. So
yeah.
As a company, we are anywhere we can help to energise and get more people coming forward who want to be in our sector, the better,
Alan, you're not alone in that, and that happens an awful lot. And that's one of the roles I've taken upon myself to do. It is about the brand awareness. I'm going to give you an example. And if anybody from SPEN is on the call, apologies. But back in 2016, I met with SPEN, one of the largest companies in Britain, if not Europe. And I was meeting with the regional director, and he was chatting about everything, and it all sounded very, very good. But again, you have to think as a 13-year-old. And I said, well, that sounds great there, but can you tell me, who the hell are you? And of course, the voice, the face drops in. What do you mean? What do you mean? And then I have to point out the fact that, SPEN is an acronym. That's one thing that's really bad. It's Scottish Power Energy Network. Secondly, there's a danger that when you are 13 or 14, everything around you, of course, is quite blasé. So they are now part of the routine, like BT would be, or Scottish Water. So you walk past them if they're in the street, because they're these things that are blinded to you. You become so used to them. And I had to point out to them, it's all about the brand awareness and the fact that a 13-year-old may not know unless they're interacting with you. So why would you see an advert? Sorry? Oh, and also young people don't look at newspapers as such now. So the way they apply for work is differently. So Alan, I'm so pleased that you're on the you're on the ball there, because it's absolutely about taking the businesses and whom they are and educating people and keep that going. So yeah, I'm quite happy to. I'd be delighted to introduce you to one of my equivalents in the regional team up there. If you get in touch with me, justin.thomas@dywdg.co.uk, or get in touch with Kevin or Julie or John. They'll pass me my details on. Whereabouts were you again, Alan, please?
Yeah, we're at Shotts, in between Glasgow and Edinburgh. So,
oh yes,
if one of the Scottish engineering team can put an email out with your details, that would be great.
Yeah, and I will get you introduced to. In fact, I'll introduce you to both the teams there, and then you can meet with them and see what you can do with either or both. I'll introduce you both there. Not a problem at all. Thank you for that, Alan. Really appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi there, Sheena McKenzie here from the University of Strathclyde.
Hi, Sheena.
Really interested to hear what you're saying. I do industry engagement for the university, so I'm out talking to companies, and they're constantly asking me at the moment, how do we get more graduates? And I think we've got a real graduate pipeline issue coming up, because everybody's after the same graduates in engineering in particular, in lots of different sectors. So I'm really pleased to hear what you're talking about, and would be more than happy to try and link up with some of the programmes that we've got within the university here. For instance, our engineering academy, where we bring through kids from slightly more generally disadvantaged backgrounds who perhaps wouldn't be thinking about going for degrees, for instance, taking them from the college sector and getting them accelerated routes into degree programmes and things like that. So helping with the pathways, basically. So more than happy to link you in with some of our mentoring programmes and such like. So we've got students in our education sector in those programmes who are then mentoring kids within the schools as well. So it'd be good to link up there, Justin.
Absolutely, Sheena. Let's grab a coffee. I'll come up and see you.
Fantastic. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin or Julie, or anyone can, if I can get Sheena's email, that would be fantastic.
No problem. I can pass that on to you, Justin.
Thank you, mate. Anybody else got anything you'd like to ask? I know it's still early and you've all got busy days planned, but go ahead.
What to do. If any further questions come to mind, you can send them through to myself. I've also put Justin's email address in the chat as well, in case anyone wants to pick that up just now. If there are any further, if you go away and reflect and have any further questions, then you can email Justin directly or email myself, and I will pass the query on to Justin as well.
Thank you. Yeah.
But unless we have any further points, Justin, it just remains for me to say thank you for turning up today and giving a very interesting breakfast briefing. And I'll just let everybody go and enjoy the rest of their day.
Thank you very much, everybody. And again, thank you to Scottish Engineering for your ongoing support. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Folks. Take care.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.